What are your thoughts on how Gottwood has developed over the years?
I think it's a great idea of master plan, not to extend and extend, but keep the number steady at 5,000 or 5,500. I think it's big enough as it is, and it's such a precious environment as well that I think more people might cause more damage to the site, and yeah, I think it's just perfect, and I love that family style approach. I mean, this year for the first time we've seen like more security, and it might be related to the latest things happening all over the world, Europe and Britain especially, but yeah, it's an island of peace and love. It's wonderful. My older boy is just will be 20 in November, and just started out going to festivals and sometimes parties with me, and so far he's seen Free Rotation last year, and I've been telling him, you have to make it to Gottwood, it's the best. So he's here with 5 friends actually, and they've never seen like a UK rave crowd, so they've been pretty overwhelmed by all means, by people as well, but like in a good way, of course.
Yeah, so your first, the disco set that you did here 2 years ago,
was the first ever disco set, official disco set, and I would never have called myself a disco DJ, and still, I mean, there's guys who are much deeper in the thing. But I don't know whose idea it was and why, but like it wasn't my idea. It was Tom or someone from the festival saying, we think you should do a disco set. And then this is how it happened, and I try my best, that's all I can do.
Have you been booked to play a disco
Since
set?
I've been booked to play a disco set, so yeah, because also the podcast from the first year has been extremely popular on SoundCloud, so other promoters were thinking we want to do the same. But yeah, I mean, after all, it takes the environment, it takes the people to make it happen. The Mulholland Free Clinic had their first show at Unsound Festival in Krakow about 3 years ago, and it was the promoter of this festival, which is quite known for the more experimental, edgy, avant-garde kind of music. And they said, why don't you do Magic Mountain High, which is Juju and Jordash plus myself, together with Reagents, which is my other project with a guy Scottish born but living in San Francisco, Jonah Sharp, aka Space-Time Continuum. We have a band called Reagents, and we go back, we did our first album in 94 or 95, so we've had a long story but never really get to see each other much because he lives in San Francisco. And through this festival we did the first ever gig, and we needed a name, so we came up with a name, and last year we were doing 2 more shows, shows number 2 and 3 in Berlin and in my hometown Heidelberg, and this year, just a couple of weeks ago, a live album was released just with cuts from one show, the one in Berlin at About Blank Garden last August, which was our second ever show, and it's like fully improvised, the whole thing. We rent the gear, or the promoter rents the gear for us, so we don't even know what kind of sounds or presets or patterns in the drum machine. We really start from scratch and do it as a 4-piece, but they're all obviously really qualified guys in their electronic thing, but also like Juju and Jordash, they're both like accomplished jazz musicians. And Jonah is a real drummer. He was playing on acid jazz records in the 80s. So we could play acoustic in a way. We should do one day.
And then recently you said how due to your schedule you don't get to party that much. When you do get time off, where do you like to let your hair down? Where do you usually party?
Well, that brings us straight back to Gottwood, I guess. I mean, there's no need to stay here from Thursday to Monday necessarily, but it's a deep desire or want. And yeah, I mean, I like hanging out in England or the British Islands, Wales, of course. But even in Ireland, I was saying that in another interview yesterday, in the most parts of Ireland, the closing hour is 2 a.m., which is so early in the night that you always end up going to someone's home for a little after party. And I think I really enjoy these in general. People are funny, sometimes they're way out of their head, but usually they're super lovely, and yeah, someone's kitchen or whatnot, it's great. So that's quality partying for me, rather than spending money and going to a big production in Ibiza. That would be the opposite of what I consider recreation.
Yeah. 3 records you would take to a desert island?
The Beatles' White Album, Miles Davis' Kind of Blue, and the third one I would produce myself while being there.
And do you have a highlight? What would you say is your highlight?
Of the festival?
Of this year, yeah.
Yeah, last year would be Crangbin.
Yes.
Totally blew me. Amazing, and like I think no one had real expectations, so when they started out, it was me and maybe 5 people, and by the end of their set the lawn was full and people were, it was massive. And this year, what was really good, saw a bit of Antal last night, saw a bit of Helena Hauf last night. Really enjoyed playing with Johannes Albert in the Walled Garden. But to be fair, with the 4-month-old baby, I miss out on an awful lot, so I can't really give you a qualified statement on that too much.
So, how's the rest of 2017 shaping up for Moufang?
Up until now, I was crazy busy, and I hope to get a little more relaxed, and but still playing throughout the summer, doing a couple of more UK festivals, Lost Village, Audio Farm, Houghton, yeah, and then in fall I hope to get a bit more time to go back to the studio, and also hoping to have a little vacation with the family without records, just vacation. But yeah, go on happily ever after, I hope.
One word to describe Gottwood?
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, sexy, gorgeous, agua bubble bass galore.